Hey everybody, another exciting episode of Liberty Ladies Unite. I'm Rebecca.
Oh yeah. I'm Natalie. We're your Liberty Ladies, and we unite. Yes.
So, well, lots of things going on in the country. God, where do we start? A lot of people are really depressed right now, and
Yeah.
I know I certainly, it's really bothering me. Joe Biden's out there proclaiming that he's the president-elect, which is total nonsense. So for starters, I want to tell you that ignore that. Turn off the mainstream news. Joe Biden has not won.
Well, I have some very good news as of, I think it was half an hour ago. For those of you all who listen to Eddie Aragon, The Rock of Talk, 93.7 FM, here's something that Real Politics came out with. Yeah, just within, I think, the past 40 minutes, definitely within the past hour. They are no longer calling Pennsylvania for Biden. That
That's good
state
news.
is officially being contested. They have withdrawn those electorals from, from being called for Biden. So you're not going to hear it on CNN. You're not going to hear it on Fox. You're not going to hear it on MSDNC or any of that fun stuff. But it's officially contested, and there are open lawsuits in a bunch of states. I mean, definitely Michigan, I believe Wisconsin, Georgia, as well as Pennsylvania right now. So it's far from over. And don't believe that Arizona is Biden's. His lead is dwindling in Arizona. And they still have over 100,000 ballots to count. So yeah, it's exciting. If you listen to real news instead of the fake news, you don't get quite so depressed. But fake news, and I firmly believe that this is why they did it through Fox on election night. It was designed to dishearten and depress the president's base.
Yeah.
They did it through Fox. Fox betrayed us. There was, a liar, a plant, or whatever you want to call it in there on the decision desk. And they wanted us to feel betrayed. They knew that most conservatives would be watching Fox. They wanted them to feel betrayed, disheartened, depressed, and just give up. But don't give up.
Don't give up.
It's far from over.
I know that you might feel betrayed. You might feel just anxiety, but you got to hang in there because Trump has an army of lawyers working to uncover all of this corruption, cheating. Oh my God, there's so much cheating, and there's been over 100. I think I was listening to Kayleigh McNamara today. McNamara, I never can pronounce her name right.
McEnany.
There we go. Made a press briefing today, and they've got over 120 people that have gone on record that there have been issues. There were Republican poll count watchers that were denied access to hundreds of thousands of counts.
Oh, yes.
It is just what are they hiding? And that's what we need to find out.
And it wasn't just Republicans. It was also independents, Green Party. Everybody was booted out of the polls in several cities and precincts in certain states. There were even some where they shoved everyone out of the building. Those states that supposedly stopped counting ballots.
Right. What they did was they stopped counting the ballots so that they could shut everything down and so that nobody would be looking. And then they brought in hundreds of thousands of phony ballots.
Right. And they wheeled them in and they started counting without telling anybody else or getting any of the poll watchers or the poll challengers in. After they supposedly closed down and closed up shop, and then they start counting again. Yeah, that's not legal. That's not lawful.
No, and if you were sitting there on election night, and if you were like me, sitting there and saying, they're going to stop counting ballots. What?
Mm-hmm.
Natalie, you need just a little bit more light on your end.
Oh, sorry. Let me see.
Can you get just a little bit more light? That's
Yeah,
better.
it happens
Now I can
whenever
see.
I click to a certain page.
As you know, I like to see faces, which is something that we
Yeah.
don't see nowadays when we're out and about.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
No,
by the
I'm
way,
putting
before it slips my mind, is one of my, and I'm rather down about this. One of my regular customers, Papa Do's in Albuquerque, which I've been servicing that contract now for several years, maintaining all of their computer equipment and their printers and their point of sale and all that kind of stuff. Somebody snitched me out for not wearing a mask. Apparently, they don't want to see my face in there anymore, and which is personally hurtful to me because I've been in there taking care of their stuff for years, and I thought everybody in there liked me. So in any case, I was told, well, you have to start wearing a mask when you go in there, or you can no longer have the contract. So needless to say, that contract is gone.
This is right at the feet of the governor. I mean, I know it's really easy for us to turn against the businesses and
Yeah, but they could turn their head the other way.
possibly, but see, here's the thing. The governor has figured out who she can control and how she can control them and with what threats she can gain that measure. And unfortunately, right now, businesses are being strong armed illegally. I'm not saying it's legal, it is completely unlawful what she has
Totally.
been doing to them. And by forcing them into a position where they now have to play cop when they're not law enforcement, and now they have to ask for medical intervention when they're not medical personnel, nor are they licensed to practice medicine. This is the kind of position she's putting all of our businesses in, and it's all at her door. They are deathly afraid that she's going to shut down their business, but it's a catch-22 because I really believe right now that the whole purpose to this lockdown is to drive most businesses out of business.
Well, of
So
course,
that we
because
will
that's
have to
all part of
depend.
the plan to take over the country and basically turn it into a communist government.
Yeah.
That one of the first things you do in that plan is you destroy the existing economy. You destroy all the businesses. You make everybody desperate to do anything. And then we're already seeing people desperate, so desperate, everybody's afraid and going around living in fear, wearing a mask. And when there is no reason, I mean, think about it, people. You have a deadly disease out there that they're claiming exists, and yet a flimsy little paper mask is all you need, and then you're immune.
And how many people do you know who have died?
Zero.
Goose eggs.
Zero.
Goose eggs. I know a few people who supposedly know of someone through friends who did die. Well, my husband, supposedly one of his uncles might have died from COVID-19, but he was in his late 80s, almost 90, and I'm sure had comorbidities, except the family never thought to double check the death certificate. And they're in Texas, so we have no control over that. But everyone that I've known that has had this has recovered.
In just a few days.
If you're still tempted to be afraid, don't be afraid of the darn virus. At this point, that we have months and months and months of data to show us that it is no more deadly to the entire population than a really bad season of the flu, and it is even less deadly to the majority of the population under 70, and therefore it really is the most deadly for the population over 70 and over 80. And of course, if you're over 70, over 80, take care of yourself. But you know what? Most of the 80-year-olds that I know, they've been taking care of themselves for the last decade, and they're super careful around flu season as it is. So they just keep doing the same things they've always been doing to protect themselves, and they're good. They're fine. But what we really should be afraid of is how quickly our democracy, if you can still call it that, has devolved into outright authoritarian, totalitarian regime. In New Mexico, we're pretty much in a communist regime right now.
We are. You've got a government. Well, I'm not even going to say a government. You have a governor, which the rest of the government has completely just surrendered all their authority. The legislature no longer has any power. The judges are just rubber stamping everything. And they have, for some insane reason, given away all their power to the governor. Now the governor is unilaterally making decisions. I don't know why this does not scare every single person in this state, regardless of what party you are, unless communism is what you really want. And of course, we've been talking about that, about the Democrats, that seems to be what they're embracing. They want communism. They want authoritarianism, Marxism. They want one person running every aspect of their life. Now, I don't understand that at all. I'm a free-thinking person. I like to determine my own destiny. I've always been self-employed because I like to determine my own destiny. I like to make my own choices in life. And choices are being taken away. I mean, certainly all of our choices about going out and doing anything fun have been taken away. We're virtually not allowed to go out and have any fun at all. Anything that's fun has been made illegal by this dictator we have in Santa Fe.
Any authoritarian, any dictator has to get rid of laughter.
Yeah.
They have
And
to
it's
get rid
hard
of
to find anything to
We've
laugh
talked about
at nowadays.
Yeah. So it and several people have been warning, and I tend to believe this too. We've been thinking another lockdown was going to come our way. There's some rumblings that we might get a warning this week about another lockdown. I think the governor is definitely going to try to shut down travel around the holidays and, you know, do what they can to make sure that people aren't gathering in groups, which of course for me just means that, oh yeah, okay, we're going to have a really big Thanksgiving party this year.
I think so too.
Because, my home, my family, my property, there's still no legal precedent for arresting people in their own home when there's been no violation.
So by the way, Natalie, I don't know if you're watching the chat going on, but we have a person on the chat by the name of Aiden.
Oh, cool.
Well, he's kind of a jerk. He thinks that we're uninformed and embarrassing. Now,
is he one of those? Oh, that is so sweet of you, Aiden, to be concerned about us. Wow. But you know what, Sweet Pea? You don't have to worry about us at all. We don't give a F what you think.
No, we don't.
No.
We do not. Aiden, you can just take a flying leap.
That's right.
So, honestly, I am so done with having compassion for these idiots. Okay, he obviously hasn't listened to a word we said because, nothing we have said so far during our broadcast in any way is false or misinformed. Everything,
you know what?
Unfortunately, people like him live in a delusional fantasy world in which they have no idea what's going on around them.
Right. Now, I would challenge anyone who thinks we're wrong, by all means, please prove us wrong. But you gotta prove it.
That's right.
And that means, more than quoting any talking points you've heard from CNN.
That's probably all Aiden listens to.
And just warning you, if you decide to quote the CDC website, I'm going to be asking you, okay, which version of this was it and from what date? Because the CDC has on a regular basis contradicted themselves.
Yes,
even in spite of current medical studies that are now starting to be peer reviewed. That's right, peer reviewed scientific medical studies that are showing that A, masks are just not effective at preventing viral spread. And oh, yeah, B, that actually cloth fabric masks help to aerosolize and distribute viral spread even more effectively than not wearing a mask.
You
Yeah,
know, and I have a
there's all
theory
kinds of
about
stuff.
that too. And you know, this whole communist manifesto thing, in which it seems like they're doing everything in that communist manifesto to basically destroy this country and make it into a Marxist, socialist, I don't know, it'd suck. I can just say that.
Right.
but you know, the thing is, it's like the mask, okay? Everything that I have read by actual qualified medical professionals, not fake news, not
people on government grants,
not people on government grants, yeah, that are just
Good
looking
point.
to, yeah, government, like Fauci. You know, that guy's so corrupt. He's in with Bill Gates and everything that Bill Gates. You do a little research about Bill Gates. Bill Gates wants to reduce the population of the
Yeah.
world. Okay, I'm
Now,
sorry.
how about we don't listen to people who stand to make billions, maybe even trillions from a vaccine or therapeutic for this virus? Yeah, how about we don't listen to them? But no,
Yeah.
everyone wants to accuse our president of, oh, well, he had some stock in the company that makes hydroxychloroquine. No, he owned one of those big conglomerate stocks, like, you know, a little bit that's part of a huge portfolio anyway that's managed by someone
Oh, isn't
else.
that kind of like a 401k or an IRA or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, pretty
it's like
much. But you
you
know,
just get like a
everyone
whole
pretty
bundle of
much.
things, and it's called diversifying.
Right. In fact, I'm willing to bet that most everyone who's got a 401k or an IRA, yeah, somewhere in there you've got some kind of tie to a pharmaceutical company. So I'm sorry, that means we're all corrupt.
I guess
Darn.
so. All right. Well,
Darn.
emotions do not count as facts.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Emotions,
Liberals think emotions are facts. So,
or as Ben Shapiro likes to say, facts don't care about your feelings.
yeah.
Yeah, they
So let
really
me
don't.
tell you right now, okay? If I were living during the day of JFK, I would
Mm-hmm.
be a proud liberal, which
Yeah.
liberty is in the word liberal. Okay,
Yeah.
that means I'm not going with the establishment. I'm not for big government. I'm not for big corporations running my life. None of that crap. I'm an individual. I'm into running my own life, and I just prefer that other people just kind of stay out of my way.
Yeah.
And that's what liberals used to mean. So if you're calling yourself a liberal nowadays,
You're lying.
you are lying. You need to look at that, and you need to decide: am I really a liberal by the definition of what a liberal is now, which is a communist? Okay, I'm just going to say it right now.
Yeah.
It's a communist.
I don't even like to use the word liberal in line with the Marxist left anymore because they're so anti-liberal. They are anti-liberation, liberal freedoms.
Yeah. So there might just be a resurgence of actual liberalism pretty
Hope so.
soon, and I'll be leading that charge. Absolutely.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And we'll show you what liberalism is. So, you know, I was thinking about this whole election fraud thing that's going on. And of course, Aiden out there, I'm sure he's too much of a brain dead idiot to even see the fraud that's going on. There's proof of it out there. It's all over the place. So Aiden's gonna be our punching bag tonight because he stuck his head out
Yay!
there.
Thank you for volunteering.
Thank you, Aiden. You're the idiot that we're gonna mess with tonight.
That's right.
That's right. We're not even going to be nice about it. So if you think about this, President Trump, on, literally on Inauguration Day 4 years ago, the mainstream media came out and said the impeachment has begun on Inauguration Day. Okay, now, don't even you idiot liberals see something wrong with that? How would they know they want to impeach him? He hasn't even done anything yet. Okay, then we go from that, it just kind of escalates from that. Then we make up the Russian collusion scam, in which the only person actually colluding was Hillary Clinton. And there is a mountain of evidence to prove that. Well, after over 2 years of wasting probably billions of our hard-earned taxpayer money on that scumbag.
At least millions, at least.
12 billion?
12 billion in the investigation. Yes.
Mark said 12 billion in the investigation.
12 billion?
Yeah.
Wow.
But that scumbag lawyer they hired, that he's senile too. And when he went to court or when they were questioning him in Congress, he's like flipping through his own report, Mueller, flipping through his own report with his mouth hanging open, like, I've never seen this before.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll have to refer to the report.
You know why? Because he didn't write the report.
Well, you know what I find interesting is that after 4 years, wherein the left and the Democrats insisted that we had to investigate every single little thing, that we had to pay close attention to every possibility of election interference or foreign interference or fraud on the part of the president, or even Stormy Daniels. I'm still not sure how that was pertinent to anything about running the country. After 4 years of insisting that.
So the guy at one point in time had an affair with a hot-looking woman. It's like, okay, so I don't care.
Yeah, Bill Clinton did it in office.
He did better than Bill Clinton, that's for sure.
Yeah. And this wasn't even in office either. Bill Clinton, his was in, like, on or under the desk in the Oval Office.
The Resolute desk, right?
You believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, after 4 years of insisting.
Cigar, don't forget the cigar.
That's right. That's the cigar. But after 4 years of insisting that everything must be investigated, well, now the 2020 election isn't even over. It isn't even finalized yet. And they're just like, nope, got to concede. Move on. Don't bother investigating.
Not going to happen.
It's like, whoa. I thought that our election integrity mattered. Or were you just lying?
Oh, they lie all the time.
Then they're all lying dog
their mouth is moving.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, well, if then you weren't sincere about protecting our election integrity and protecting our nation from election fraud or interference, then I guess you're all lying dog-faced pony soldiers.
That's right. You know the problem with Democrats when it comes to doing the right thing or anything like that? Democrats have zero moral values. Zero. They have the moral values of a bug.
And we're not talking about Democratic voters, by the way. No, we're talking about those who are in power, who have subverted your Democratic Party and left most of you behind and are using most of you. Lest anyone misunderstand that.
Oh, no, don't get it wrong here, Natalie, because some of these people are totally in with the Democrat Party.
That's why I said they left most of the Democrat voters behind. But no, there are some that really have just, drunk the Kool-Aid and swallowed the bait, hook, line, and sinker. Yes, there are a few. But there are also a lot, and some of them are friends of mine, who didn't vote for Biden this time around. And they are hopping mad at the whole.
Well, maybe they should switch parties.
Yeah, some of them probably are going to. Probably.
So, and look what they did. Okay, so we move on from the Russia collusion scam, because that's what it was, and these people should be sued for misappropriation of our taxpayer money. I could have used my share of that $12 billion.
Oh yeah, really.
So And then look what they did to Brett Kavanaugh when he got nominated for the Supreme Court. They took that guy and his beautiful family and they made up crap about him. These people are disgusting. And if you are a Democrat out there that was rooting that on, you are disgusting.
Yeah.
Luckily, he came through that, and I don't know how many people could have. Then we moved from that to the phone call, the Ukrainian phone call scam. They just moved from one thing after the other. Because
I mean, the phone call that was perfect, that there was nothing illegal about it, there was nothing untoward about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that phone call. And then that didn't work. So then they decided, well, we're going to impeach you over nothing. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. They literally impeached him over nothing.
Nope.
Nothing. And so that didn't work out for them. So now they're trying to steal the election by every form of fraud they can possibly think of.
Multiple forms of fraud. Yeah, they were ready to do, I really believe, everything. One of the interesting things, those of you who know me, I love Dan Bongino, especially since, along with his podcast, he sends you his show notes, where he just has links to all the avenues where he got his information. And one of the really interesting ones, they're all interesting, but from National Pulse is, let's see here, news, politics, like flipping a coin and getting heads 100 times is what they are likening to some of the shenanigans going on in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Basically, what they've done now is an analysis of the votes cast for Joe Biden has been done, and the turnout in and of itself in Pennsylvania reveals a huge host of statistical and historical anomalies that favor the Democratic candidate's chances of winning the presidency, unlike anything ever observed in history. And it's two reports over 10 pages of statistical analysis, raw Pennsylvania voter data, and the analysts are finding all kinds of irregularities, numerical irregularities. So it's a really interesting article. And it's the kind of thing that I really love to delve deep into, like the numbers. There's actually statistical properties for each number 1 through 10 or 1 through 9 on, how likely is the number 1 to be at the beginning of a chain of numbers or beginning of a series of numbers, and 1 is more statistically likely to be at the beginning of a series of numbers, like by 60 some percent, something like that. Well, what they're finding is in places where they're suspecting voter fraud, the numbers don't follow the statistics of probabilities. They are evenly distributed, which does not follow probabilities.
Well, not to mention, they had this huge, I mean, we're talking over 100,000 ballots, from what I understand, that were dropped in the middle of the night. And this is after they stopped counting. Here, Trump's taking a big lead and just racking up more and more votes. And they say, oh, we're going to stop the voting. Oh, my God. Or stop the counting. We can't keep that counting up because Trump's winning. So they had to stop the counting. And then they literally have like hundreds of thousands of ballots that were dropping on them, in which Biden is the only thing that's selected on the ballot.
Yes.
What's the chance of that? Who do you know that goes to vote and votes for president and nothing else? I don't know anybody like that.
It apparently it can occur, but it's not terribly likely. People will generally vote for, Senate, a House race, maybe even their own legislatures, etc. And as it goes down further and further down ballot, like a lot of people we've talked before leave off the judges.
Yeah, which was really a dumb thing to do this time around.
Yeah. But to go to vote and vote only for president and absolutely nothing else is pretty rare. Something that I found bizarre too is that in many cases Biden has supposedly beat Barack Obama's popular vote record. I mean, if you think about it logically, President Trump by himself has already gotten more votes cast for him than any other president in history, especially any Republican president.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look at Biden's numbers, okay, well, Sleepy Joe Biden somehow got more votes than Hillary or Obama inspired. Really? And in some counties, they're also finding that Biden received tens of thousands more votes than these counties had registered Democrats.
Yeah,
Come on.
imagine that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just not, yeah, no.
And then this voting software that just flipped, just in one precinct alone, it flipped 6,000 votes from Trump to Biden. Now,
Yes.
they are investigating that to see if that's an isolated incident or in fact a chronic issue. I have a feeling it's not an isolated incident. Just like people that are dead voting is not an isolated incident. The people that are dead, lots of them, they're discovering, and they have actual concrete proof of this. You can look up in the you look them up in the voter rolls, and then you go in, you look them up in another thing, and it shows their speed. So,
yeah,
dead people are voting. And I even heard that pets, dogs and cats are voting. I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, I've seen that cats and pets have voted in the past. Someone said they received a mail-in ballot for their pet in I think it was the 2018 election, something like that. Yeah, there's so many different ways to vote, but by far the scariest one right now is Hammer, also known as scorecard. And I looked a little bit of that up this morning. So Hammer was developed by the military as a way to spy on some of our enemies, particularly terrorists. Scorecard came about because I think it was CIA. Yeah, it was the CIA who turned the Hammer program against United States citizens and started using Hammer to spy against the USA. That's illegal. I believe the only office who can do that is the FBI, and that's only if they have, warrants or justifiable cause to surveil someone in the USA. The CIA is definitely not supposed to be doing that. Well,
CIA, from what I understand, is not supposed to be operating within the United States in any way investigating a U.S. citizen, period.
Yeah, at all. So it got turned into something that could be used in elections, into scorecard. And guess where it was used? 2012 election. Biden and Obama. So this has been out there for several years now. I suspect that we learned a lot from the 2018 election. I suspect that the president's campaign, the United States, whatever offices he used, NSA possibly, we're watching the campaign of 2018 very, very carefully because that election showed them just how they were going to try to cheat and take the 2020 election. And we're pretty darn sure that many of those House seats and even some of the Senate seats were stolen from the Republicans and from 2018. So I think they learned a lot from 2018. And whatever's going on now, 2020 was a huge opportunity. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. This is the biggest opportunity any president has had, and is the first time we've had a president willing to expose voter fraud on a national level. And I really believe that's what's going to happen.
The thing is a lot of these people aren't thinking about is if in fact he exposes this voter fraud, whether it works to basically make it show that he won by a landslide, which I do believe he did. If it in fact shows that he won by a landslide, it's entirely possible it might show some other people won, down ballot people also won, that we don't think won.
Yeah,
So
and I'm hoping that too.
you bunch of idiot liberals out there, if this goes our way, you can just go and cry all you want. But
Well, and I have
thing is,
a question.
unlike you idiots, okay, if we lose, we'll accept that we've lost. If the votes,
if we
if the
lose,
legal votes are counted and we lose, we will accept that. And we
hey,
won't
we weren't happy with
to
Obama.
overturn the election for the next 4 years.
Right. We weren't happy with Obama, but hey, we had 8 years of him, and we didn't
put up
try to
with
throw
him
him
for
out of
8
the White
years.
House. Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
I wasn't happy about it.
I still want recounts, but if it's proven that Joe Biden did actually eke out a win lawfully and fairly without cheating, okay, fine. He'll be my president. I won't be happy about it, but he'll be my president.
Yeah.
But if it's proven that whatever president you want, for a moment here, let's take the names out of the picture. Take out Trump, take out Biden. You have candidate A and you have candidate B. If candidate A is winning over candidate B, and then candidate B starts shooting ahead with statistical impossibilities, and it's starting to look like there might be some fishy business going on, would anyone really rather ignore that and let candidate B cheat to the win? How badly do you all want to win that you are willing to overlook potential cheating? Or wait, but when Hillary said, oh yeah, the election was stolen from us, yeah, everyone wanted to look into that. Everyone on the left wanted recounts. Everyone on the left wanted, they're like, oh, but that means there was election fraud because there's no way Trump could have won. So either you all really meant that back then and you were sincerely concerned for our election integrity, or you just wanted to win no matter what the price and no matter what the cost is. And if that's the case, then I'm sorry if you're one of those people that's like, oh, no, move on, move on. What does that say about you? That you're willing to accept a president of your choosing by whatever means necessary he got there, even if it was wholesale cheating. Really now? Really?
It just goes right back to what I was saying, Natalie, that liberals in today's, what they call liberals, have no moral values. They have none, zero. They don't have integrity, they don't have honor, and they don't believe in truth. They don't believe in what's right. They don't have a problem with newborn babies being murdered. They're just evil, disgusting people, and they'll go along with anything. This doesn't bother them at all. If they can get sleepy, creepy, pervert Joe in the White House by cheating, well, then it doesn't make any logical sense to me, but that's what they'll do. They don't care. They don't care how.
And it is mostly the hardcore leftists. And of course, Facebook is always great about the sludge rising to the top. So, those few acquaintances that I have on Facebook that are just, way out there and don't care about the cheating, etc. Somehow they have the loudest voice. Funny how that happens. Thankfully, though, there's a huge movement to move over to Parler or MeWe or Gab, or a host of other options out there other than Facebook right now.
And I think that's what we're going to all start doing. We're going to just migrate over there a little at a time, and then at some point, Facebook's going to say, "Wow, where did all our users go?"
They're going to be a little echo chamber. I'm hoping that's what happens. But yeah, Parler over the weekend, ever since Election Day, and especially since Facebook has been shutting things down, like the hashtag Stop the Steal group, People have been flocking to Parler in droves. I mean, they had some glitching over the weekend because they were getting thousands of new people signing up every minute.
By the way, I don't think you listened to Alex Jones yesterday.
No, I didn't
Is
get to.
personally endorsing a huge cross the country Stop the Steal rally in which he
Mhm.
is going to be at the ending location to
Yeah.
personally speak. And he is personally financing and helping put this thing together.
Yes.
So
Yes.
those of us listening, that if you can get involved in that, do it. Get
Well, there
involved
was a
in the Stop the
great
Steal movement.
there was a great Stop the Steal rally up at the Roundhouse on Saturday, actually, while Rebecca and I were doing our live show on KIVA 93.7
Yep.
Rock Talk. So we had our first live show, which was
That's
awesome.
right. We were going to talk about that.
Great
Hey,
numbers.
everybody's like, so we did our first live show on KIVA on Saturday, and we're going to be on there every Saturday, 1 to 4. From what I understand, we had, number one, our phone lines were just packed. We had one phone call after the other, people calling in. It was a huge success, our very first show. And from what I understand, we had about 9,000 listeners.
Wow.
Which I think Eddie was almost jealous. He'll
my
really be jealous if we outdo his own show now, won't he?
No, Eddie gets really high numbers for his own show too. But yeah, Eddie Aragon told us it was the best first show he'd ever seen. Like
Yeah.
we were just, people were connecting with us and just calling in like crazy. We did not expect to get that many phone calls. I think we took about 30 total, but if we had streamlined it a little more, we actually could have gotten 50, which in 3 hours is a lot.
Which we'll do better next time. We were actually, honestly, we were on a learning curve on our very first show, but
right. We had no idea how to do live.
Oh my God, you guys just picked it up right away.
Yeah.
So
that was very encouraging, but it was great. But in one of the things Eddie mentioned was there was a lot of stuff going on, including several rallies around the state for this Stop the Steal. There was, I guess, a nationwide movement to have a Stop the Steal rally at noon in almost every major city. So that was going on in Santa Fe while we had our show, and I got to see some of the video footage from it afterward. Wow. Lots of people. I think at least 1,000. If anyone was actually there and has like an approximate count, I'd be really interested in knowing that. Because of course, local media here ignored it. And, they're not going to actually say, oh my gosh, there was over 1,000 people at this rally standing up for our elections and rights. And no. We
I
don't
wish
get
somebody from the rally would have called us on our show, and then we could have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk to Brett Kokonitis next time. See if, because that would be absolutely awesome if we can give a little bit of live on-air presence to rallies happening around the state. That we would love to do that. So
We would.
any of you all, friends of ours, new listeners, watchers, if you happen to be at a rally when we're on live on our show on Saturdays, call us.
Because,
love that.
one of the things that we're there for is we're there to give all of you a bigger voice. And so we have the ability to do that now. We've been doing this, and now we're doing that also. And we reach a huge audience on there. So call us while we're on the air when you're out doing one of these things, and let us know, and let us do a shout out and tell everybody what's going on.
Right. Well, Christine on Facebook says that her family heard us on Saturday and we all were great.
Awesome.
Samantha, hey Sam. Okay, I like that. She says she'll put in her last will and testament to have her family mail in her votes for all eternity.
Oh, nice. Republican, of course.
Of course. And then she's
Democrat.
like, for those who don't have a sense of humor, of course, I would never do that, but it's sad that I feel the need to add that disclaimer. Yeah. So yeah, great idea, Sam. If someone's gonna steal our votes in the grave anyway, we might as well will those to our descendants.
That's right. We might as well will those ballots to a relative that's going to
Right?
vote in our best interest, right?
Right? Yeah. Who knows? Hopefully, it doesn't have to come to that. But what the left doesn't realize
Do that in here.
is by cheating. Oh, is Mark saying?
Oh, nothing.
Okay.
So,
I thought he was giving us a word of wisdom because those come out from him.
no, not exactly.
Well, the left doesn't
I
realize
am a
that.
moral authority in this case, and I'm telling you, Aiden is immoral.
Oh,
So-
there we go.
Okay, so let me talk about what this country would look like under a Biden administration. I'm just going to say it.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And this is not based on my feelings. Isn't that my feelings? I'm not basing this on my feelings. Unlike this idiot, these idiot liberals like, what's his name? Aiden.
Aiden.
Aiden. Aiden.
Right.
Unlike clueless drones like Aiden that just kind of are brainwashed by the mainstream news and they don't know what's going on in the world.
And here's how clueless he is. He doesn't know us. He says that I feel so sorry the education system failed you so badly.
Yeah.
Well, obviously what he doesn't realize is I wasn't educated by the public school system. I was educated by my bachelor's degree holding mother and master's degree holding physicist of a dad. So yeah, I was really lucky. I escaped the public school system. It didn't have a chance to fail me. So yeah,
exactly. So, and I have just tons and tons of experience. I actually have an actual formal education. I'm an engineer. Okay.
Yeah.
And but
an
I've
actual
also
degree, a real degree.
A real degreed engineer. I really am an engineer. So Aiden, I'm not stupid. Okay. So anyway, so these are based on things which have come out of Joe Biden's own mouth, or Harris's mouth, or Beto O'Rourke, or various different people that he says are going to be in his cabinet. Okay. So let's see here. We're pretty much going to lock down the country. Biden said that he's going to lock down the country. Now that'll really forward that whole communist agenda of destroying the economy, and because that's what Biden wants to do. He's going to lock down the economy. Why are you going to lock down the economy? And his buddy Beto, which is going to be his gun czar, said he's going to confiscate our guns. Then Biden has said that he's going to have a national mask mandate. Okay, all of this stuff is unconstitutional, people. And I'm sure people like Aiden have probably never read the Constitution or don't care about personal liberty, don't know what it is. Okay, but I'm telling you this. I will, if necessary, use my Second Amendment right to protect those rights. Okay, so you people come to my door and you try to stick a needle in my arm and force a vaccine on me, or you try to force me to come into my home and try to force me to wear a mask, or my God help you, if you come to my door and tell me you're here to take my guns, you're going to get all of the ammunition first. All of it. Okay.
It wasn't too long ago that those of us who were warning, it could get to this point where we have to use our Second Amendment rights to protect all of our other rights. And people are like, oh, it will never get to that. I
know how to get to where it is now.
Look how fast things have turned around. Because, I guarantee you, if someone ever tries to come to our door to forcibly take our private property, which we earned through our own, the work of our own hands, which, by the way, the government taxes us on anyway. Yeah, we've given our part to the government. What we have earned, what we have bought ourselves, that's our private property. And the Constitution it acknowledges that we have the right to protect our property. And it doesn't matter if someone's like, Oh, well, just, it's not a big thing. Come on. It's for everybody's safety. No, I'm sorry. That clause is not in the Constitution.
No. And another thing that will happen if Joe Biden is president, we're already seeing it bad enough as it is. Over the past 4 years, we have seen essentially state-run media. We've seen these cable news stations
Yeah.
that are working for the Democrat Party. We're starting to see big tech that are working for the Democrat Party.
Yes.
Now, as long as Trump is president, there's a little bit of a threat to them about us doing something about it. But if Biden is president, he will just embrace that, and we will have an actual state-run media. This is the sort of thing that goes on in communist countries, where you have one news outlet, and all they spout is what the government wants you to hear.
Right.
And that is what we will have in this country. And there'll be nothing to stop them.
And if you're a conservative or Republican or even a Libertarian or Green Party or something other than, or even if you're a middle-of-the-road Democrat, that you're not quite all on board with the socialist communist stuff, don't for a second think that you won't essentially be outlawed or forced into thinking lockstep with the ruling regime. That is what happens in every single socialist country. You doubt me? Take a look at Venezuela, where it just happened and is still ongoing right now. Every single person who speaks out, and hey, that includes us, against the ruling regime, if they're of a socialist communist bent, we will be targeted. We will be outlawed. We will be forced forced into compliance or forced out of the public sphere by social means and economic means. And what do I mean by that? Well, so it's very interesting. You all have heard about cryptocurrencies and how many Democrats especially want to go to an all electronic currency.
Of course
and
they
get rid
do.
of cash.
Then they can control every aspect of your life, because if they get rid of cash, you'll be under their thumb.
Everything can be tracked. And someone actually asked me this from a Christian perspective. They're like, well, why would we be against currency? I mean, currency is kind of a construct anyway. It's a construct of the government. And the Bible says, give to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's. So what's the issue? And I'm like, okay, so let's give to Caesar what is Caesar's. But now what happens when Caesar starts encroaching upon what is God's? What happens when Caesar starts locking down people's bank accounts because they donated to certain charities or to certain churches? What happens when Caesar, our government, starts deciding, you know what, churches, you're getting way too much in the way of tithes and offerings. The government needs to take our fair share of that too. And we're not even going to ask you. We're just going to reach into your electronic account and take it because we say so. So, at what point does giving to God what is God and Caesar what is Caesar's? I understand that whole thing. But when Caesar starts to ask for what is God's, I got a real big problem with that. Just like Mad Lupita, governess, saying that, oh, you all can't sing in church. Well, I got news for you, Governor. I sing in church every single darn Sunday because how dare you encroach upon what is God's. My worship and my praise belong to Him alone. They do not belong to you, and you do not get to tell me or any of my family how to worship. There's your separation of church and state.
Yeah. So, what we think about your health, your orders, whatever you want to call them, MLG, you can just stuff them for all we care.
Yeah.
Because
Stuff
I'm not going to comply.
Yeah.
Period.
Oh, here's where I was going with that. Sorry, before I got on my soapbox.
No, you were doing pretty good there.
The whole thing with electronic currency got confirmed with me very strangely over the weekend. Someone I know happened to run into a relative of Michelle Lujan Grisham's, and Ben Ray Lujan. Now, this acquaintance of mine, they're like, well, at first I wasn't sure if they were pulling my leg, but they said, yeah, I met Michelle Lujan Grisham. Yeah, that's a relative, like my cousin, and Ben Ray's actually my uncle. And
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know, I'm sorry. They conversed in the parking lot afterwards because, they actually had ran into each other in the store and he didn't have a mask and she was all, no, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm not uncomfortable. And so in the parking lot, he told her, yeah, so I've heard all of those relatives in politics talking about the masks and how they're a crock.
Yeah.
They've said, Ben Ray Lujan, Michelle Lujan Grisham, according to someone who claimed to be a relative of theirs, and of course, don't ask me to substantiate it, I can't. But apparently, they've claimed that they've said that the masks were a crock, and the reason they're pushing the masks is so that they can get an all electronic currency. That's the purpose of the mask.
Wouldn't
Keep
surprise
us in
me.
fear. Keep
Wouldn't
us in
surprise
fear.
Yeah.
So we will give up cash, so that we will give up a huge part of our freedom, which involves how we obtain and maintain our private property.
And idiots like our friend Aiden, he'll just fall for that hook, line, and sinker in just a drop of a hat. I mean, he'll just run right. I'm sure he's running around in fear wearing a mask already, and who knows what else he's doing. So he'll fall for that.
Yeah. No, thank you. I like to breathe free, live free, and do what the heck I want with my own money and my own property. And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. If someone thinks, oh, that's a waste, or if someone thinks, oh, you don't really need that, that's not necessary.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how would you like it if someone came into your life and said, oh, hey, you don't really need the Starbucks every day or once a week or twice a week or whatever. That's not really necessary, is it? Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if someone did that to you, anyone, the proverbial you, I would be up in their face saying, "Hey, how dare you? That's their money. They get to choose to spend that however they choose. And I don't even like Starbucks, but you should be free to spend your money wherever you want
I
on
don't even like
whatever
coffee,
you want."
so.
Right, right. So it's like someone told me a long time ago. They had asked a group of young teens. I was part of this homeschool government program called Teen Pact, and they posed a question to us of, should you outlaw smoking tobacco products? And some of us were very naive, and we're like, oh yeah, that would be a good law because smoking is bad. Most of us from homeschool families don't smoke, or our parents definitely don't. So that would be a good law, right? Well, no, the object lesson of this was actually no. Anything that curtails freedoms is not a good law unless, like in the case of, say, murder. You've infringed upon someone else's freedoms. There has to be a darn good equivalent reason
Yeah,
for
if you
infringing upon your freedoms.
want to smoke and you want to kill yourself with sucking in a bunch of toxins into your lungs, hey, knock yourself out. As far as I'm concerned, you should have a right to do that.
Yeah.
You should
And
have
what
a
this
right to
staffer
do anything you want that is not harmful to anybody else but yourself. Hey, I'd say go for it.
and this staffer had I'll never forget how he put it. He said, I may not like smoking, I may disagree with smoking, but I will defend to the death your right to choose to smoke.
Yeah.
And that was a complete turning point in my young mind as a teenager, in my psyche, of how I viewed our Constitution and our freedoms. It was like,
Right.
wow, we don't have the right to decide what's right or wrong. We don't for other people. We just don't. And it's interesting that leftists will say, oh, you all can't push your religion on us. You can't decide what's right or wrong. Teens can go, or prepubescents can go ahead and have transgender reassignments or whatever. But then when you turn around and it's actually them who's pushing their beliefs on everybody else across the board.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but they always do this. They always accuse us of doing what they themselves do and love to do on a regular basis.
Here's something I thought of when I was being thrown out of the Costco the other day, and I canceled my membership. And I saw how that video just went crazy viral.
Yeah.
And there were some hateful liberals on there criticizing me and basically cheering for the big corporation Costco.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah. And I got to thinking about that. It just kind of hit me today. It's like, I thought these liberals hated big corporations like Costco, but now they're happy with these big corporations trampling on people's rights. They're happy about that. And it's like, you people, do you stand for anything? I mean, either you hate the big evil corporations or you don't. I don't get it. Now, personally, I don't have any problem with big corporations as long as they're not trampling on my rights. I've never had any problem with big corporations. I've never had any problem with mom and pop businesses. As long as they're not trampling on my rights and I'm going in there and I'm being treated like a decent human being, I'm okay. But you liberals, I thought you hated big corporations, and now you're applauding them for trampling on people's constitutional rights.
Yep. And wasn't that long ago that liberals were all after Target to recognize the, quote, rights of a very small group of people in this country to use the same bathrooms? Well, yeah, it makes no sense because now Target is infringing upon the rights of many more people, but especially people with disabilities and medical conditions that really shouldn't be putting their health at risk by depleting their oxygen. I think I read some of this over the airwaves on Saturday. In some countries, Germany and even China, children have collapsed and died from cardiac arrest related to hypoxia, related to CO2 poisoning, carbon dioxide, rebreathing their own carbon dioxide. Playing sports in China was actually some of the ones that died in China. They were wearing masks while playing sports.
Why in the world would you wear a mask playing sports?
Right.
By the way, we've had some people join our chat, and I wanted to do a shout out to Shauna Holloman. Said hi to us. And then Diane Felton. And Diane Felton mentioned about Agenda 21. And yes, I've done a lot of reading on Agenda 21. And that's what they're trying to put forward is, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, good, Diane. We're going to be fighting with you. So we all need to fight, and we need to get more people in the fight with us. This could get very, very nasty, and I hope it don't, but it might. And everybody needs to be prepared for that possibility. Either you're going to, I'm completely into the live free or die. I've got it painted on my truck. I mean it. Yeah. Okay, I'm not gonna give in. I'm not gonna give up my freedom. So you just try to come for my freedom. Let's see. Leo would like to talk about
SB5 and SB7.
You want to try to bring him on for a minute? Hey, Leo, you'll have to make it kind of quick because we don't have much time tonight.
Yeah, we can bring him on for a few minutes. Let's finish off with him.
Okay, all right. Leo, I'm going to try to bring you in, so we'll see what happens here.
Yeah. In the meantime, shout out to Tamara. She has been conversing via the chat all throughout the program. She's one of our regulars.
Tamara is one of our really good buddies.
And she said she was at the rally last Saturday. Apparently there is going to be another one this Saturday.
Okay.
So well, definitely call us.
Call us from there, because If you're up there between the hours of 1 and 4, call us at Rock a Talk and then let us know how things are going there.
Yes.
Okay.
It looks like.
Leo, I just sent you an invite. So.
Oh, my friend Diane is on. Hi, Diane.
Hey, Diane.
Yep, Agenda 21. That's the ultimate goal. Take our property, push us into low-income housing. Yep. But of course, the elite, the richy riches and the ones in power, they'll have the mansions. No low-income housing for them. Yeah.
Those
So
of us
basically,
that are living paycheck to paycheck and they break us financially, everything will get confiscated by the government, probably for taxes or whatever.
right.
Okay.
Right.
There we go. We got Leo.
Yay!
Hello, ladies. How are you
Hey,
guys doing today?
Leo.
How's it going, Leo?
Thank you for
doing good.
calling in on Saturday.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
So you got
So,
the floor. Try to make it fast. Her and I got kind of a short time tonight.
yeah. So, in a nutshell, what happened with SB5 and SB7 here, the reason why I wanted to speak upon that is because it's basically backdoor gun confiscation that is used with my particular field. Because what happens is they're trying to say, well, people who are not mentally well can own a gun. Well, that's fine. I understand that. But it automatically gives the person who's arresting the individual the right to make that decision. Now, the person who's arresting you and trying to say, oh, well, you can't have a firearm, he isn't medically trained at all to make that decision for himself or for the law or for you. The reason for that is he's not a psychiatrist. He's not a psychologist. So when they arrest you for psychiatric issues and you're in possession of a firearm, part of that problem is they are used trigger words. So what the law enforcement is told to do is certain things like, I want to hurt myself, I want to hurt somebody else. So they're not a psychiatrist. You could just be saying that just because you're mad. So that's not a good idea, So that becomes a problem. So then what they do to you is they take you to a facility, most likely an ER room, and then the psychiatric doctor sees you there. Well, the psychiatric doctor there is maybe fully licensed to make certain judgment, but at the same time, he will usually turn you over to the state hospital or the facility where I work at, mental health here in New Mexico. And so what happens there is we take you to a room, and then we start asking you questions. Do you have a plan to kill yourself? Do you feel safe where you are at home, etc. So only the psychiatrist can make that decision, not the judge. Now, the judge only acts in capacity to give that power to the psychiatrist, because not even the judge can make that decision for you or for anybody else, simply because he is not at the acting capacity to do such a thing. So what usually happens, he goes with what is called a doctor's order. Now, a doctor's order is a court order basically run through psychiatric or psychologist that speaks, oh, well, this person is sane, this person is not sane, this person is a danger or a harm to himself or others. So what happens a lot of the times is that somebody uses a trigger word, and I've had family members, I've had friends, just people on the street accidentally use a trigger word. So they bring you in. Oh, this person said they wanted to commit suicide. This person wanted to hurt somebody else. Said he was going to blow up a building. Yada yada. 80%, I can almost say, of the people that come to my facility, I reject it. No, this person's fine. He just rambled something on. Let him go. And then the state police officer, the arresting officer, the EMT, whoever brought you in, then has no other choice but to take you back to wherever they picked you up. Some people are having to be as far brought in as Las Cruces and Las facilities in Las Vegas, New Mexico. So you can see how pretty upset the EMT or the sheriff, whatever law official, ELO, is going to be when he finds out that he picked up somebody and brought them to a facility only to have to release them. So what that does with the SB5 is that it's saying that, oh, we'll take the guns away immediately. you see how that quickly can turn into something that it quickly took away your rights for no reason. And it's kind of like, oh, we'll take away your rights right now, and then later on we'll try to figure out whether we have actually done wrong or we acted right. By then,
but the thing is with that is providing you have the money to hire a lawyer.
Exactly.
But if you're poor and you can't afford to hire a lawyer, well, your rights are gone forever.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and not only that, you may never get your firearms back. I mean, the litigational process that you have to go through to retrieve your firearms back, and then sometimes a lot of what happens is that, oh, we can't find your firearms. They simply have disappeared in our evidence. And what we can do is we can pay you back. So that also happens. So that's the reason why I wanted to speak so quickly on the SB5 and SB7 is because that's exactly what happens when this goes down. So you can easily see how it's easy to arbitrarily trade your rights and how easy it is to take away. And anybody can do this. I mean, your neighbor could be a liberal or somebody who doesn't like you. That man's crazy. He has guns. He's just
Yeah.
They automatically have to do that. And then
snitching on people for not wearing a mask.
Exactly. It's almost as that easy. For longest in the conversation you have with a police officer, you use a trigger word, boom, it's over with.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks, Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're very much welcome.
Okay. I'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Mm.
You're welcome.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Leo's a real knowledgeable guy. I like bringing him on.
He is. He is. And he's a doctor, bona fide doctor. Our freedoms are under attack from so many angles. And I know it gets overwhelming sometimes. And I think the key is to figure out what it is, even if it's just one thing that you can do. And for Rebecca and I, this is the one thing that we can do. We talk and we let you all know stuff that we found, stuff that we figured out, and in many ways just let you all know that you're not alone. There are other people who believe this and feel the same way that you do.
And that was why we had such an enormous outpouring on our first radio broadcast. So many people said, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you two are on the radio." And that made me feel pretty good that there's people that appreciate what we're doing. So, and so that's why we're doing it.
We're gonna continue.
Yeah.
Well, here soon, probably I'll have a Parler account for us eventually. I'm trying to get that underway. Who knows? Maybe MeWe's like a clunkier version of Facebook. Parler's a little closer to Twitter. So there's definitely alternatives out there, and more people are flocking to them because, well, it's kind of like we put our videos up on Rumble because we never know when YouTube's going to take us down.
Yeah.
We're prepared just in case.
By the way, Leo corrected you. He's not a doctor. He's a CNA.
Oh, okay. Sorry. CNA. Okay. That's right.
He's just a very, very smart CNA.
Well, hey,
he's somebody that goes above and beyond.
Definitely. Well, I think we should probably wrap it up there then. Thank you again so much, Leo.
So everybody, just going to remind you how you can contact us. You can contact us on our email address at libertyladiesunite@gmail.com. And of course, you can find our broadcast here, which is posted on, we're live every Monday evening around 6:30 or so on Facebook. And then it gets copied to YouTube and Rumble. And then on Saturdays, 1 to 4, we're on the Rock Clock live, and you can call in and talk to us on the radio station if you want. And so we're just we're doing our part, and so
question authority.
Question authority, exactly. Yes. Always question authority. Steve Smotherman, I watched his service, I think it was from Wednesday, and he was talking about always question. Always.
Yes. That was
what you're told.
We were there for that one. It was his Tuesday midweek service.
Yeah.
Question,
so
always.
question question everything. Question it. Don't just take somebody's word for it. And turn the freaking mainstream media off. Just turn them off. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your time.
They've turned me off.
It's just so much propaganda and brainwashing. That's about all it's good for these days. So.
Oh, David
going
said
down.
before we go to honor our veterans on Wednesday. Yes, we definitely will.
Yes, Veterans Day, definitely.
Yeah. So, okay, well, everybody, try to catch us on Saturday on our radio show.
Yep, 93.7 FM or
1600 AM. Yeah. And we will catch you later.
Yes, I'm Natalie.
I'm Rebecca.
We're your Liberty ladies, and we
Unite.
unite. Have a good one. Stay free.
Bye, everybody.